This is problem 64A on page 249 in your textbook, and I have the Excel spreadsheet for it to use. And excuse me, we're still trying to make what the bank says we have in our checking account match what we have in our cash account and in our checkbook. So in this particular instance, they give us a simulated bank statement, and that's what you see on 249 in kind of that orangey brown color. It says on August 31st, I'm reading now at the top, that the company received this bank statement shown below, and the receipts and the checks are shown there on the bank statement. So there's a debit memo for $95, and again, if you just kind of ignore the word debit, there's an NSF check for $95 where someone has given us a check that has failed to clear our bank. Also, there's a check for $47 written to a creditor, and we recorded the payment as $74, and we have some outstanding checks. So we are going to go ahead and start plugging these things in and go from there. So let's start with the ledger balance of cash is $1,563. So that's going down here. Okay, so the ledger balance of cash. They tell us this is how much is in our checking account and in our checkbook and in our cash account in the general ledger. Now the bank, if you look at the bank statement, in the second row down is a summary balances statement, 1,323. So the bank statement is up here, its balance goes right here. And again, it's very unusual for this to be the same number. Okay, so continuing on. It says there was a debit memo for $95. So we actually put $95 in our cash account, and now we're finding out that the check that was given to us was not good. So we need to subtract that NSF check, and the value of it is $95. Okay, so it's going to make our cash account and our checkbook balance smaller. We also wrote a check for $47 to a creditor, and then we found out, gee, we recorded it as $74, which is the difference of $27. And remember, when you do a transposition error, the difference is evenly divisible by 9, and 27 is evenly divisible by 9. We took too much out of our checkbook, so we're going to need to put back $27. So we're going to go to where it says add to the cash balance, and we're going to say what it was, an error in recording the check, and the amount of it is $27. That's the amount that we took out in excess of what we needed to. Okay, we also have some outstanding checks. So we have outstanding checks 1928. So we're going to call them outstanding checks, and in 1928, and that's for $150. And we also have another check, and this one is for $292. And also looking at this one, we have a deposit that didn't appear for $599. So we've added that $599 to our cash account. We now need to add it to what the bank says we have. So this is a deposit in transit, and sometimes people refer to them as late deposits. Okay. Another thing we need to deal with is the NSF check. When you look about halfway down your bank statement, it says under other debits, DM, debit memo, NSF check means non-sufficient funds for $95. So we have the $95 here we've taken care of. We also have in that same area, see where it says DM service charge, $15. So we have to subtract the bank service charge, which is for $15. So looking at this right now, we have recorded what the bank says we have. We've added in our deposit in transit. We have, when we do that, we get a subtotal of $19.22. We're going to add up our outstanding checks for $442. And then we're going to have to subtract the outstanding checks from this one. And when we do, we get a balance of $1,480. So we're hoping that when we do the cash account here, that we'll end up with the same balance at the bottom. Okay, so here's our cash account. This is in our checkbook and in our cash account in the general ledger. We took out too much money, so we're adding back $27 more. If we add those together, come up with $1,590. If we look at our two deductions here, one is from someone's bad check and one is for the bank service charge. If we subtotal those, we come up to $110. And then we're going to take our addition and subtract. Here's what the bank says we have right here. And we're going to add the additions and we're going to subtract the deductions. And when we do that, we get our new cash balance and checking account balance, and that would be for $1,480. So do you notice how we're reconciling? Because this amount here equals up here, and that's exactly what we want when we reconcile. Well, anything that we've done with the lower half, anything that we've done to the cash account will need to be journalized. So we're going to add $27 back to cash. So let's go ahead and put in the year, the month, and the day. And when it's in the addition column, that means we're going to be debiting cash because we're making cash bigger. And that's for $27. When we look like we overpaid this customer, we took too much out of accounts payable, we have to put some money back into accounts payable as an increase. So we're debiting cash for $27 to make cash get bigger. We're crediting accounts payable for $27 to make accounts payable get bigger, because we do owe more money than what we said. We would need to have some kind of an explanation here. We're going to just write that we had an error in check number 925. We had an NSF check from a customer for $95. Well, we thought that person paid us, but they did not. And so we need to show that they owe us $95. And the only way we have to show that is just accounts receivable, because that's what we use when people owe us money. So accounts receivable will get bigger, and because we have to subtract it from our cash account, cash is going to get smaller. And in our explanation, we're going to write that it was an NSF check and what the person's name was. Last, we have that $15 bank service charge. So anytime you have a bank service charge, it's little, it's not worthy of having an account called bank service charge expense. So we're going to put it in a miscellaneous expense. And that was for $15. And we're taking it out of our cash account for $15. And you can put an explanation there. And I'm done with this video.